Last autumn and winter, I made myself this jumper that I spun the wool for and then knitted myself. And it was a really long project. It took the whole winter pretty much. But it's now finally cold enough this year that I can wear this. And I'm really enjoying wearing it. I also really enjoyed having that project, like an ongoing long-term project for the winter weather. And I've been thinking about something I can do this year. Years ago, I made this piece of cloth. It was a kind of experiment using cashmere that I unraveled from old jumpers that had holes in. And that's what all these little bits are. That's where the ends of the cashmere pieces had to cross over. But it made this really nice material that I love, but have just never really used for anything. And I would really like to develop this maybe into some clothing, but I'm not sure the best way to do it because I don't want the waste that comes with cutting pattern pieces from a piece of cloth like this. So I was wondering if it's possible to weave just the shape of the garment that I need, just the pattern pieces, to weave in that shape and then just put those together. Okay, I'm going to use this big piece of MDF to put my nails into to make the weaving board. The thing is, it's so heavy I can't even really move it. So I think I'm just going to cut a piece off. So the difference with making this garment to when I normally sew something is that once it's woven, I won't be able to adjust the shape or the pieces because if I cut it, then it will just unravel. So I need to make sure I'm happy with the shape before I start. And I've just made a quick toile out of some cotton. I think I'm okay with this, but I probably want to make the neckline a bit more open. I kind of want it to be like a loose vest I can wear over other clothes. I trace the shape of each piece onto the board. Okay, so far I have put some nails in the bottom and the top of this pattern piece, and I think I'm going to try and put on some warp threads now. They're going to go lengthways. I've actually put the same number of nails in the bottom here as in these top bits, so that when I wind the threads around them, I shouldn't run out of nails. There should be equal on each side. We've had a really nice autumn so far this year. Normally the rainy, grey days come a lot sooner than this. It's meant that I've been able to get on with a lot of things outside for longer than I expected. But now that the weather is not so nice, I find it really good to have a project like this, which, like the spinning one I did last year, it's so nice to have like a big, ongoing, practical project that it's creative, but it isn't like extremely mentally taxing, so that once you get into it, you can just work on it bit by bit, and it's quite relaxing, and it just gives you something to do, and also it lets you see the process of something progressing. So it helps you feel that you're doing something productive. It's like a tangible way to see that. I find that my worries and my stresses kind of get absorbed into the work that I'm doing instead of just rattling around in my head. Okay, next I need some weft, which is the yarn that goes across the warp. And I've got this back of an old jumper, which has some holes in it. So what I'm going to do is unravel some of this to use. I also wrapped cotton around a bamboo stick and under every other warp thread, allowing one half of the warp to be lifted to make a space to pass through the weft thread. I then made a second one of these to lift the other half of the warp threads, making this like a very basic loom. This allowed me to more quickly and easily separate the warp threads with a wooden stick. And then I should just be able to pass my yarn through here, and hopefully that will work. Kind of silly. I thought this would just be some nails and threads and I'd use a needle, but I've basically built like a whole loom here. By this point, things were becoming a lot more complicated than I had planned, but this system seemed to work. Okay, I've made some good progress on this. I think at this point I'm going to add a different colour of yarn. So I'll probably weave a few rows of this colour and then go back to the grey. Okay, I'm getting to the point now where these things I put on to lift the threads aren't really working so well anymore because I'm getting too close to the nails on this side. So I think what I will do is cut off the threads that are on this side. All right, I have woven about 2/3 of this now. I've got a grey section and a white section. I've also removed some of the nails from the bottom because it was getting really tight, and I can see that there's definitely going to be quite a bit of shrinkage. It became very fiddly as I got close to the top of the weaving. I had to use a needle and this took a long time. Okay, I've finished this first panel and I think now I need to remove the nails and see what it's like. This is very much an experiment, so I don't know yet if I will be able to carry on using this same method or whether I need to try something else. Whoa, okay, it has shrunk a lot. Wow, that's like quite a bit of shrinkage. So I finished this experimental panel of weaving, and while it has kind of been successful, I suppose, one thing that I did not anticipate is that there's been a lot of shrinkage, like in the length, not really in the width, which is actually what I was worried about. So that's kind of interesting that the width is pretty much fine. It's just the length, there is a lot. I'm not sure what sort of percentage, maybe like, definitely 10%, maybe more. What I could do to account for the shrinkage is make my pattern pieces 10% longer, like stretch them out. But for now, this was a good experiment. The whole point of this project is that I want to find ways to use only waste materials to create something completely by hand, and this kind of ticks those boxes, but I also would like to develop the outcome I get a bit more, so I have actually a bit more control over the look of it. So I pinned this panel in to the rest of it. I just want to get an idea of how it might look, even though it's a bit small now. Actually though, because I made this so loose, this bit of shrinkage might not be too much of an issue. And actually now it's on here, I do like it.